Check this out.
The nation is in mourning after a man drove his truck into a New Orleans crowd, killing 15 people.
Yeah, Brooke is here right now with the latest on this investigation. So many questions, but one thing that really stands out when it comes to the FBI's position here, there's been kind of like a reversal of sorts. It's a bit confusing. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, Alexia.
It seems like the news sources, the local news sources are actually having better clips than like CNN and everything.
Sandra, a major reversal here. Federal officials now say the attacker acted alone in an act of terrorism. And of course, while that might calm some lingering fears around the area of New Orleans, it doesn't change the horror of what happened. Here's President
Oh, it's absolutely horrible. It's like there's some situations that are just like, dude, you start thinking about them, you're like, holy hell, what is going on in this world?
Biden offering his condolences.
Our hearts are with the people of New Orleans after the despicable attack that occurred in the early morning hours.
A man behind the wheel of a pickup truck just drove through a crowd.
Okay, see, more pictures and stuff have come out like that. There wasn't even that close of a picture yesterday. It just looks so brutally chaotic.
A man behind the wheel of a pickup truck just drove through a crowd of people, and these people they were simply celebrating the new year. It was around 3:15 in the morning.
He almost looks more African-American
In New
than
Orleans.
anything.
The attacker killed 15 people, and about 30 other people were hurt. When the truck stopped, police say the man got out and started shooting at officers. They then say officers shot and killed him. This also interesting. The FBI has received more than 400 tips from the public, and not all of them have been from New Orleans. Some have actually come in from other states. Once again, the FBI says this was an act of terrorism.
An ISIS flag was located on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations.
I have a feeling that he probably wasn't even associated. It's just, it sounds like one of those things you do when you just fucking snap and you've had it, you know, and it's terrible. It sucks that people get to that. I think that people need to stop focusing on the American dream and focus on the simplicity of a simple life. The American dream is a lot, and it puts a lot of pressure on people. Like, people wake up and they're like, I'm a loser because I don't have a wife or a family or a career. You know, it actually doesn't matter. It's okay if you're just a good person and you keep it simple. You know, you don't have to have any of this stuff. You don't have to live up to some made up standard that's been like implemented through media to keep us chained and try to literally form our life. I mean, existence is so broad, and we're narrowing it down to that view, which can be very hard to accomplish. The world is like hypnotized by this Disney type of vision.
And affiliations with terrorist organizations.
Yes, so once again, the FBI says they recovered the black banner of the Islamic State group from the truck. And right now they're also investigating whether...
When I said all the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, the statement was constantly refused. Okay. Yeah, I see what he's saying.
Whether ISIS provided any support to the driver. Also looking into, you know, the at least 19 other affiliated terrorist groups and whether there was any connection there. The FBI says potential explosive devices were found in the truck. At least one other device was found in the French Quarter. Wow. President-elect Trump also reacting to this on Truth Social. He called it pure evil. Local, state, federal authorities are all involved in this investigation. We're also beginning to learn more about some of the victims. Let's start with 27-year-old Tiger Beck.
This is important that we cover it. I mean, a lot of times, you know, in situations in media, they don't put enough emphasis on the victims. They just talk about the fucking killer. We have to mourn these people.
He graduated from Princeton in 2021. He played football there. He was working as a trader at a New York brokerage firm.
Wow.
Nicole Perez also lost her life. She was in her late 20s. She was actually a single mother to a little 4-year-old son, and she was working as the manager of a deli in Louisiana. 21-year-old Hubert Gothrow he was also killed in this attack. He graduated from
terrible.
Archbishop Shaw High School in Louisiana in 2021. Of course, many of the other victims have not been identified yet, pending different notifications to their family.
Oh,
This
really?
is so
Oh,
sad.
some of them probably said
so
don't
many
identify
people here.
them.
In the wake of this attack, of course, the All-State Sugar Bowl was postponed. It was set to take place yesterday at the Superdome in New Orleans. It's now going to be this afternoon. Officials had actually had to put the venue on lockdown to conduct a sweep, and this gave them time to set up additional security.
Yes, bless the victims for sure. And their families. Condolences. Whew.
At the event. Back to you.
And you see those images of the people who lost their lives. It's absolutely heartbreaking, that's for sure. Brooke, before...
Super heartbreaking. Life is precious, guys. Very, very fragile. I think about it a lot. I think about it all day, actually.
Before you go, we're also obviously talking about what happened in Vegas and trying to figure out, at least experts are, is there a connection in any way with what happened in Vegas and what happened in New Orleans?
Yeah, it's interesting. So the feds right now are saying there's no definitive connection between the two incidents, but they are acknowledging that the person who died in that attack in Las Vegas and the person they consider the suspect in New Orleans did both spend time at Fort Bragg in North Carolina.
That's suspicious. Okay. I'm surprised they even talk about it. Look, she looks like she's just like, this shit is just making me crazy. I can't understand it. Like, when you're reporting the news and you see this stuff every day and you're just a local fry like them, even though they are in LA, they're still a local news station to LA. They're so fucking confused. You're so traumatized. It's almost like working in a hospital. Maybe different. I don't know. But
they're saying that their time at the base didn't overlap. And again, these crimes, they say, they don't appear to be connected.
That is an interesting detail, though.
Yeah, good detail right there.
All right.
You see that? Yeah, they were like, yep, that's a very, very interesting detail. Oh my God. I'm freaked out. Are you, Diane? Oh, absolutely. Off to the weather with Bob. What else? There's some more.
All right, we're joined now by Doug Coons. He is a former...
There's a couple more videos here. I want to get the in-depth view and understanding. This is a talk with former FBI special agent, discusses New Orleans attack investigation.
All right, we're joined now by Doug Coons. He is a former FBI special agent and founder of Veracity, which is an investigative firm. Thanks for being with us. First, we'd just like to know what you would be looking into right now, given what we know so far about the attacker, his time in the military, and his statements on...
Dude, he looks like he works for some secret special agent force. Does he not?
...social media.
I think right now, in light of what is already known, I would be focusing on his communications. Who was he talking to in the hours and days prior to the incident? What were they talking about? Getting into phones is sometimes difficult, but... The
FBI, they're getting into your phones kind of... They're like, damn it. Hey, do you have that one tool to open up to get the SIM card out?
It can be...
Dude, people are just regular people, so they just have more access to stuff than we do.
A wealth of information, looking at the internet and what kind of websites was he visiting, social media, also looking for things in common with the Las Vegas explosion and seeing if those two individuals were communicating with anyone in common. So those are the things that I would be looking for right now.
You know, it's one of those things that at the surface, it looks like he was potentially acting alone. He had all these problems, as you're talking about, in his personal life and those types of
things fall apart. People go fucking crazy, so be kind.
things. But why is the FBI thinking that he wasn't acting alone?
Hard to say, but...
You don't even fucking know. Hard to say. I mean,
Even if he was acting alone in the act itself, it's probable that he had some sort of support network maybe financially or inspirationally or
They were
some
homemade
other
bombs.
means that inspired him to
I'll be honest with you guys. My opinion is that he was working solo.
do this, or helped him with the improvised explosive devices. They'll be looking at those. Typically, they have a signature to them. The way that they're built, the components that they use are often common amongst certain groups. So if this is the way we've seen ISIS make IEDs before, and he's got a similar setup, that's another clue that this was actually sponsored, encouraged by someone from the actual ISIS organization versus him just being.
People can represent organizations without being like, oh, I'm in this organization. It's like people repping football teams. It's that freaking freaky.
Being a supporter, sympathizer.
Well, we also know he served in Iraq and Afghanistan, right? Is it possible that he learned about it there, or that he had dealings maybe with ISIS members while serving in Iraq?
It's possible. I'm sure the Bureau will be working with the military to find out, exactly what his role was, where he was, and when. Did he interact with any ISIS prisoners that were taken? It's possible that somebody got his ear and started making him think in a different way than he was used to, because this seems out of character for him for the first half of his.
Well, that's pretty crazy, because I did hear something. They were like, Hassan was talking to one of his family members, and they're like, no, he was like the cool guy.
His life, when exactly
he was a cool uncle.
He changed his beliefs, and maybe his family or close friends kind of know when these changes made. I have to believe that somebody saw something and knew something was amiss leading up to this. That might not be true, but he seemed to have a lot of personal problems, according to what I have seen, with, like you said, the finances, marriage problems, those kind of things. So I feel like somebody probably knew that there was a shift in his personality.
Yeah. Some chick probably broke his heart and he went off the deep end. I'm not kidding. It sounds like a joke, but and he's just like, fuck it, dude. He had to make a name for himself. I don't know. Very sad, though.
And we'll find that out in the next few days or weeks.
Can you remind people how ISIS formed and how it's evolved?
It's been a while since I've thought about these things. I think.
Oh my God, dude! I'm telling you, I always say the people where most people know more about subjects when they don't work at places, and the people that actually work there don't know shit. It's like every time I go to Guitar Center or something, I'm like, I'll ask like test questions. What size is that? They're like, oh, this is a 42, and I'm like, I already know it's a 36. Like, I'm just testing you to see how much bullshit you're gonna feed me, because you don't know.
Pursuant to the Gulf Wars, it developed as a consequence of that, and grew a following that kind of snowballed, and haven't heard a lot about it over the past few years, but seems to have been making a resurgence.
Look how dirty. Every time I see that area, it's so dirty.
Violent extremist ideology, and I think another one of the fears is that with the vacuum now in Syria, with the regime being taken out, that ISIS might step in to try to fill that gap. So hopefully this is not a sign of other things to come.
All right, Doug Coons, thank you so much for joining us, and we do hope to learn more in the coming hour or so with this press conference. Thank you.
Thank you.
He does look like an FBI, like a real.
More breaking news to tell you about.
It's crazy to put your real name out and you're like, I'm an FBI agent. Oh, fuck, dude. Well, you can't. You're not invited to my Christmas party. There's some more videos too. We got to cover it because we're gonna get down and actually see the real footage And I think this is it. I think that this is the real footage. Yeah,
We are
everyone
now
stay
taking
safe for
a
sure.
live look at Bourbon
Thank you,
Street
Wild
in
Onion
New
Boy.
Orleans, where a man from Houston intentionally plowed a pickup truck
Okay,
into
he
a crowd
was from Houston.
just
Okay.
hours into the new year. Investigators are calling the incident an act of terror. And officials say at least 14 people and the driver are dead. Dozens more were injured. Investigators believe the attack may have been inspired by
wild.
ISIS. We caution some of the images you're about to see may be disturbing. Here's ABC's Lionel Moise.
You just don't know.
This morning, the careful work of gathering evidence continues just over 24 hours after carnage on New Orleans' most famous street. New video shows the speed of the pickup truck that plowed
Holy
into people,
shit.
killing at least 15 and injuring many more.
We have dozens of people that got hit by this car.
Surveillance video shows the truck flying an
my
ISIS flag
God.
coming down Canal Street around
Where is
3:15
it? Okay. It's this white truck.
a.m. before turning onto Bourbon and speeding
Oh
into
my
the crowd.
God.
We ran one way, so like about 5 feet away from the curb, and we ran into the bar to be protected by the little divot.
Authorities identifying the suspect as 42.
He definitely looks like he's going through something. But remember, he was in Afghanistan. He's a veteran. He's probably got some psychological problems. And he's pissed.
2-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S.-born citizen and Army veteran from Texas, who they say was inspired by ISIS to kill. They say he was speeding down Bourbon wearing body armor and firing an
Wow.
AR-style rifle out of the truck, racing
Oh
about
my
3 blocks
God, I
before
didn't know
crashing,
that.
stepping out and opening fire again, wounding 2 police officers. Inside that rented Ford F-150, authorities say they found multiple homemade pipe bombs packed with nails. Sources tell ABC News on.
This is a insanely demonic act. This is just brutal.
That flagpole is a black flag bearing the ISIS insignia. A fire at an Airbnb near Bourbon Street yesterday morning is now reportedly being linked to Jabbar. Officials say it appears explosive devices associated with the attack were made at that property. Officials say steel bollards installed on the street were unreliable and were in the process of being replaced ahead of the Super Bowl in February.
Oh my God.
Vehicles had been placed as blockades, but there were gaps.
We had barriers
There were gaps. You guys put some bullshit on there. Dude, the city should be paying. I hate to say it.
Had officers there, and they still got around. So we did indeed have a plan, but the terrorist defeated it.
City officials say they questioned the construction timeline, wondering why the replacement didn't happen months ago.
This construction should have happened
That's absolute bullshit.
much earlier, and everything really should have been ready and in place, fixed, repaired, ready to go now.
Dude, he would not have been able to get through. I didn't know that. That's bullshit. Wow. Even before the Rose Bowl or the Sugar Bowl and everything.
Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
Unbelievable, guys. The city should be paying those families. I mean, they didn't create a safe environment. There's a reason that they have those. If cars can just slip through there, that's not okay.
And a video has emerged showing
Okay,
the
guys,
New
this
Orleans
is
attack.
where
There's
the real brutal footage is. So if you don't want to see it, I'm just letting you know right
camera
now.
footage of the attack that took place in New Orleans. The video showing the truck speeding into the crowd.
Look how
and
fast.
this is a video that's gone completely viral on
Oh
social media.
my
This truck
Lord, look how fast. That guy was a millisecond from being crushed.
was a Tesla truck, which this is a truck that in that New Orleans video in which 15 people have died and 35
That was
others
not a
were
Tesla
injured
truck.
in this attack that took place in New Orleans.
Okay. Oh my God. They're like standing. They don't know what's going on. Look at that.
in New Orleans.
How they just stand there like a deer in headlights. Woo.
I'm not going to comment till I speak to the group later. I've spoken to every member of the agency, from the CIA to our
Dude, he's definitely gets like Botox.
national security team, to our FBI, NSC, and we're gathering all the. And I spent a lot of time with the government, with the mayor.
What was your reaction when you heard what happened?
Well, the reaction was one of anger and frustration.
And to get more on this, we have my colleague
Frustration
Vishal
for sure.
joining us. Vishal,
Insanity.
finally that footage that has emerged, this new footage that's gone completely.
I bet if Joe Biden was like maybe 25 years younger, he would probably be better and have more spunk, and he would be all right. But he's just seems too old.
Completely viral of that attack that's taken place in New Orleans, which caused the death of 15 people and 35 others that were injured. Of course, in that truck, there was an ISIS flag that has been found. Of course, this is being called an act of terror. Get us the details that you have for us in terms of, there have been multiple incidents that have been.
Appreciation and support for ISIS, the terrorist group, and sort of indicated that he was planning.
So, this is why I don't go to big places like that. For real. I just kind of stay away from it all anymore.